He was absolutely the best player on those teams. That doesn't diminish Steph Curry's greatness. That KD was better than him and he needed him.
The Warriors did not need Kevin Durant to win a title. They never have, and they never will.
Wrong.
As long as Steph Curry
Wrong, Emmanuel
around.
Acho.
Coming up, that's not the segment, Joy. We need it. We're gonna do that tomorrow, Coleman. Look, yesterday we was beefing about this topic. Joy, Shady, Slick, myself. I said Kevin Durant does in fact need another title, and I said that Steph Curry was never dependent on Kevin Durant for a title. So the question on the floor is this: does Kevin Durant need another title to validate his legacy? Now I'm gonna kick it off because I'm the one who was under attack.
Let's hear it.
He needs another title, Joy, to complete his legacy. He needs another title, Slick, to complete his legacy. LeSean, Shady, McCoy, Kevin Durant needs another title to complete his legacy. Because what's the biggest void on his legacy? The biggest void on Kevin Durant's legacy is very simple. He couldn't do it without another MVP. And regardless of how great any player is at playing whatever sport they play, if you cannot win without another MVP on a roster, then there is a void when it comes down to your legacy. See, complete, Shady, all complete means is having the appropriate and necessary parts. KD, Joy, doesn't have all the necessary parts when it comes down to validating his legacy, because when you talk about his finals MVPs, when you talk about his 2 championships, you got to talk about Steph Curry. You got to talk about the help that he needed to acquire those 2 championships. So I'm not going to say that Kevin Durant needs another title to validate his legacy, because to validate something is just obviously to make it valid. But, Shady, I do have to say he definitely needs another title to complete his legacy. Where do you stand?
I feel like Kevin Durant. First of all, we talk about Kevin Durant. You know who he is.
Of course.
Remember the interview?
No doubt.
So let's stop playing this game. Everybody keeps talking about his legacy. His legacy is cemented. We all know who he is. MVPs, final MVPs, that's what he's done. But when you really break down, he reminds me of a guy, Peyton Manning. Remember him? He won a championship with the Colts. And we all know how great Peyton Manning was.
Sure.
But when he went to Denver with the Broncos and got another championship, like, that was just icing on the cake. Because we already felt like Peyton Manning was already up here. He was already a GOAT. And we look at Kevin Durant, it's the same thing. He's a GOAT, and we know that. So for his legacy, if he goes gets another championship, which I hope he does, he's still Kevin Durant, and it puts icing on the cake.
I'll say it like
Simple
this.
as that.
I'll say it like this. I like it, but you're wrong. I'll say it like this. KD is the icing of the Warriors' cake. He's not icing on the cake. All he was icing, because, Slick, as I look at it, icing isn't necessary to a cake. It's a nice additive. Yeah. I like it.
I love it.
Of course.
I love it.
Yeah, when you was playing, you didn't need no more of it, though, if you want to be a Russian leader. It's a nice additive to a cake, but, Slick, I can't say that anything KD does from here on is icing on the cake. Where do you stand? Does he need another title to validate his legacy?
Not to validate his legacy. His legacy is complete as is. Great all-time scorer.
Sure.
Great player.
Mm-hmm.
He needs another title to change his legacy.
Okay.
Because we already see KD a certain way. In the same way that Steph Curry changed his legacy, whether you agree with he needed it or not,
Fair.
winning finals MVP
Fair.
put him in a different category. Kevin Durant is in the same place, whether you like it or not. Whether you believe, whatever you believe in terms of his value to the Warriors winning those 2 championships, the fact of the matter is, he went to a team that had already won a title and then won 2 more. Right. If I understand the reason that Kevin Durant left the Golden State Warriors is because he felt he would never get the full credit for what he did winning those championships. So I need to go in much the same way that LeBron James left Miami and went to Cleveland and said, I won him in Miami, but it's always going to be, it was with Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, and they did it without me. Like, I got to do it on my own. That's what Kevin Durant needs. That's why he needs another title to change it. Because as of right now, it stands that he won, like, great all-time player, but to be a champion, he had to go to a team that was already championship material.
Woo, I like going last because I can just pick everything apart. I got all these little notes. First of all, no, he does not need to do anything to validate his legacy.
That's right.
Now, our dear Emmanuel Acho did something here, boys and girls, that you have to pay attention to when you're doing TV. Because he's a little something, little
He's
something,
slick.
something.
He's definitely slick
But
now.
I got the notes here. And the question was not, does he need one to complete his legacy?
Well, it was at one point in the show.
Two-time best-selling writer, so I know these words matter. Yes. It was validate. So which conversation are we having? We're going to have the validate conversation because that's what we all prep for
the
today.
first one. That's right.
And we all know that he is complete. Okay, he has a complete legacy. I do agree with you, Rick. He can add to it. But he's already an all-time great player. He's already going to be a player that we speak about for ages. He's an unbelievable scorer. He is a champion.
Yes, he is.
Whether or not you agree with how he became a champion is irrelevant. There are no asterisks next to his name when it says champion. He is a league MVP. So is his legacy
right.
set? Yes. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yes. Is he an all-time great player, wherever you rank him? Yes. He's a league MVP. Yes. He's a champion. Yes. He's a finals MVP. Yes. Get the stamp. So what is it going to do other than change people's opinion of him? And KD, I'm with you. Who cares about what this opinion is?
Right.
Your legacy is validated. You can add to it. You can change it.
Yeah.
But as far as it being complete or valid, of course it is. Look at these credentials. They can't be argued with. It's just a matter of perception. And if you do things for other people's perception, that's a rough life.
That's right.
Why does that bother you
Stamp
so
it.
much?
Here's why.
You're over there
You gotta
like
stamp that.
Also, you ain't never eaten
Wrigley.
no cake with no icing. So don't talk about your
I'm saying
whole
cake.
life. And your
Icing?
whole life, you had never, one
now.
person ever bought
Let's
you a
do
piece
this.
of cake
With the
with no
sprinkles.
icing.
Can we do this for a second? We're going to play a game. I'm doing this off the top of my head. We're going to play a game. Everybody has to name a top 10 NBA player you cannot duplicate, right? So I'll go first. I'll say Michael Jordan. Who's in the top 10? And just name one. Did I have a name? Name one. LeBron James.
No, Steph Curry.
Beautiful. Name one.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Name one.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Great. Okay. I'll name another one. Bill Russell. Name one.
Kevin Durant.
Name one.
AD, baby.
You got Tim
Shaq.
Duncan. Shaq. Name one.
Shaq's a good one.
Larry Bird still
Larry
out.
Bird.
Beautiful. Okay, great. So we've named several NBA
That's right.
players that are in our top 10. I will omit KD for the sake of my example. I'll get back to that in a second. Somebody named Shaq. Shaq won a title without having another MVP on his roster. He's a top 10 player. I named Bill Russell. Bill Russell won a title without having another MVP
But who
on his roster.
Shaq's?
Shaq he won a title when Kobe had not yet won an MVP. D-Wade had not yet won an MVP.
Okay.
Bill Russell, title without another MVP on his roster. Larry Bird, titles without another MVP at the time on his roster. We named Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan won a title without another MVP on his roster. You mentioned Steph Curry. Steph Curry's won a title without another MVP on his roster. When we talk about all these top 10 players, which I didn't force them to name, America.
Right.
They named them on their own. When we talk about all these top 10 players, you got a whole bunch of guys that have won MVPs, that have won NBA titles without needing a whole bunch of help. But Kevin Durant has yet to. Slick, that's why it irritates me so much. I have to go back to 1981-82, before I was born. I got to go back to 81-82 to find another player, Moses Malone, Shady McCoy,
Sixers,
to join Dr. J, Philly, to win a title. Kawhi Leonard didn't need to in 19. LeBron didn't need to in 2020 with the Lakers. Giannis didn't need to just last year. You got to go. Steph didn't need to this year. Then you have the KD squads. Joy remembers the Miami Heat squads. LeBron didn't need to when he had D-Wade, but you got to go to Kevin Durant is the only player that needed another MVP to win a title. For that reason, Joy, there is a glaring, gaping hole when it comes to his legacy.
But that doesn't count. Because he talked about Shaq and Kobe. Like, Kobe was still dominant. He didn't win an MVP yet, but he was going to win an MVP.
Okay,
you're talking like this guy was just like regular. Like Shaq and Kobe was the real deal. Kobe was the real deal. See, the problem is
walking into a trap.
That's the problem. The problem is when guys have so much success early and they become great players, they're always trying to find something that they're sticking with. Oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. Steph Curry. I love Steph Curry. He was a great player, right? But before this finals, what did everybody say about him? Oh, he's not super great, or he's not in the GOAT conversation until he gets a finals MVP.
Sure.
They always try to stick you with something when you're a great player. This is another thing they're doing with Kevin Durant. They're trying to stick him with something because they don't want to give us his respect and his dues, and he deserves it. And right here on this show, I'm going to give you your love and your flowers, Kevin Durant.
Real quick, because I know Slick is chomping at the bit. You make a great point, Shady. Now,
yes, I do.
The problem with the great point, you walked yourself into a trap. It's not your fault. You're right. Shaq played with Kobe, and Kobe ended up being an MVP. And Shaq won titles with Kobe, and Kobe ended up being an MVP. I wish that Kevin Durant would have been able to play with MVPs in his career before. Oh, wait. He played with James Harden. Oh, wait, he played with James Harden
Oh, no.
and
No,
Russell Westbrook.
Absolutely not. I know you are not going to. You're not going to trot these children out for an example. Stop it. James Harden was not a league MVP.
At all. I'm saying that's the point.
Russ
At the point,
was not a league
And
MVP.
Kobe wasn't
They were
either.
children.
And Kobe was as
But don't
well.
put James Harden and
That's
Kobe.
not
Don't put them in the
the same
same
thing.
category.
Yeah.
Please, never, ever.
Yeah, don't do that either.
Please don't do that.
I'm not doing that. What I am saying is this.
You apologize, basketball guys.
Kobe Bryant.
He knows not what he does.
No, I was not comparing James Harden to Kobe Bryant. The comparison I was making is this. Kevin Durant has played with talent before. Slick, I see you in
Everybody
there. The thoughts
does.
are percolating.
Everybody plays
But
with
Kevin
talent.
Durant has played with MVP talent before, and he didn't win until he joined with Steph. All I'm saying is this. It's not even here. We're actually answering the question all wrong. It's not just that Kevin Durant needs another title to validate his legacy, Stick. He needs another title without an MVP on his roster to validate his legacy.
Man, Shady, he's moving like you did as a running back. He's all over the place. Like,
I'm gonna get in the end zone, though.
He is taking the leeway of this is his show, and to your point, well, I'm going to just change this. I'm going to change the question.
They go what they want.
And then I'm going to throw something out there, and I'm going to have you all answer, and I'm going to bull rush us with it, and go, did you, ladies and gentlemen, you heard what they said.
America, did you hear me?
Come on, man. Look, this is the problem. You can take what they were at various points, but what you are ignoring is what Kevin Durant did those 2 years for the Golden State Warriors.
Tell him, Slick. Tell him again, baby.
It's not as if he was along for the ride. You are veering into the Charles Barkley. Yeah, he was a nice addition, and he made them better. No, he made them unbeatable.
Right.
He gave them things that, as a result, here's the distinction. That, yes, they won a championship without him. But they lost all the pieces. They lost so many vital pieces, not just one. They lost Harrison Barnes. They lost Andre Iguodala. They lost Andrew Bogut.
Yeah.
And Kevin Durant filled all of these different holes that they could not have filled otherwise. Now, they had the cap room. And Steph Curry has demonstrated, if you give me a variety of pieces, I can bring it together and I can mold it into a championship. But there's no guarantee that you could have found enough ancillary pieces that would have equaled what Kevin Durant did for them those 2 years.
Fair.
That is what is not being given enough credit. And that's where I stop short in suggesting that Kevin Durant just joined a championship team. And if he hadn't, well, they won a championship before, so they would have won another one.
Fair.
That's not necessily true.
I don't dispute any of that. And let me tone it down a little bit. You're right.
Thank
it's my
you.
fault.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Good morning.
I apologize. Kevin Durant is an all-time great. I'm not disputing that. Kevin Durant is a Finals MVP. I'm not disputing that. Kevin Durant's one of the greatest scorers in the history of the NBA. I'm not disputing that. Kevin Durant's a Longhorn. Okay, so I ain't got that much hate.
Your boy,
You know what I'm saying? But what I'll say is this, because we all say, and Joyce smiled a little too hard when Slick said, the Warriors became unbeatable when Kevin Durant joined the squad. It's not a lie. But let's talk about the All-NBA players that year, 2018, when the Warriors won a title. I would submit that had any of the All-NBA players joined that 73-win Warriors team, they too would have been unbeatable. We're acting as though Kevin Durant did something that Giannis, who was All-NBA that year, Paul George, and the good Paul George, OKC Paul George, Nikola Jokic, Kawhi Leonard. We're talking as though if you would have added Kawhi to that Warriors team, they wouldn't have won a title. If you would have added Giannis to that Warriors team, they wouldn't have won a title. If you would have added Jokic to that team, or Paul George to that team, you realize they were a 73-win team that was up 3-1 against the Cavaliers.
Don't play like that.
Without Kevin Durant. If Draymond Green does not get suspended, they likely close that series out in 5. So I'm not taking anything away from Kevin Durant. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just simply trying to remind you all, this side of the table more specifically, I'm trying to remind you all, it's not that what Kevin Durant did wasn't impressive. I just think a lot of people could have done it. The Warriors were a 73-win team.
I can't take the hate, man.
Well, respectfully, you're wrong. But I can't. I'm not even going to repeat some of the names that you mentioned because it's not real. Because those players have the opportunity to do what KD is doing and play and elevate their teams and win championships because they're all still in the league right now.
I'm saying this.
Here's my problem with this revisionist history writing thing that we're doing right now. It's done. It is finished.
Over.
It is finished. It is over. It is in the books. There are no asterisks next to anyone's name. When you look up the Toronto Raptors with Kawhi Leonard, that championship, right? The Golden State Warriors were injured. It don't matter.
Right. Oh, there you
That's
go.
what
Yeah.
happens. People get injured. People move off of teams. Things happen throughout series. Draymond Green gets suspended. You need a little luck on the way to your championship. There's nothing that you can say to take away what KD has done. It is finished.
course.
You can say, oh, this player could have done it. Guess what? We'll never know. But KD did it.
Because they didn't need
KD went
Jordan.
there,
They did it.
and
They
he
need help.
did
They
it.
didn't need help.
They did need help because it happens.
Giannis didn't need help.
They did not win the championship without him because he was there. So you can argue this, but we're arguing the
what?
abstract.
Wait, what? Well, hold on a second.
What?
Giannis didn't need help?
Last year, you didn't watch the NBA Finals.
He needed help.
He didn't need. He dropped 50 points in the.
No,
closeout
Giannis
game.
absolutely
Giannis
needed help.
didn't
That's why.
This
yes,
is,
he did.
you know what? This is what I really.
Yes, he did. Because Giannis,
done, y'all.
Giannis didn't
You
have
hating too
help
much.
this
I'm out.
year.
I can't do it,
Giannis
yo.
didn't have help this
I'm out.
year.
I'm done. He hating too
You
much.
have
I'm going.
posted the worst argument, the argument that I despise the most, and I hear it all the time with Kobe. If
This is so stressful. I'm sorry,
if
Slick.
Tracy McGrady or Vince Carter, if they had been with the Lakers, those first 3 championships, they could have done what Kobe did. They would have won championships. That is so disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
To the path that had to be forged by those guys. Does Nikola Jokic hit the dagger over LeBron James in the finals? Does Kawhi Leonard? It's
I'm glad this was peaceful.
unfair.
I'm glad this was peaceful.
It's unfair
Let's use our indoor voices. You do realize the Cavs got swept by the Warriors, and the Cavs lost to the Warriors with Kevin Durant 4-1. All I'm simply saying, Joy, and you disregarded this way too flippantly, all I'm saying is this. If you put Giannis or that PG, first team All-NBA that year, or Jokic or Kawhi on those Warrior squads, they will still win the title.
You can't say that.
Here's why I submit that.
Because Giannis isn't the same player.
Yeah.
Wasn't the same player.
You play him
now.
everywhere, from the 1 to the 4.
There were plenty of questions
everything.
about what Giannis was before he won a championship,
Let
and
me
they were
just-
fair.
Here's
you can
why-
be a great player and not
then-
be a champion. There's plenty of them.
Of course.
You can't take away what KD did.
not taking
and
it away.
Furthermore,
I'm not taking
you
it away.
can't talk about what Steph is and not win those finals MVPs, and then talk about KD winning those
Right,
finals MVPs
right.
like it's nothing. Either it matters and he was the best player on those championship teams, or he wasn't.
Here's what I'm saying. Did the Warriors win 73 games the year before?
It did.
Yeah.
Did the Warriors
And then what happened? They lost.
Did the Warriors go up 3-1 in the NBA Finals the year before?
And what happened?
So they didn't need that much help.
Whoa,
That's all I'm saying.
But didn't they
all
go
I'm
down?
saying
Didn't
is
they go down 3-1 in a series?
They did.
Yeah.
They did to Kevin Durant's. All I'm saying is this. They didn't. Y'all acting like the Warriors needed that much help.
I mean, but
they
that-
didn't need
that team-
that much help. They
Actually,
were up 3-1 on a second.
no. Actually, they did. Because that team didn't come back and add Kevin Durant. They lost a bunch
They lost
of pieces.
No doubt.
Yeah, they did.
No doubt. No
and
doubt.
they needed to be able to replace all those pieces.
Right.
And Kevin Durant replaced all those pieces. This is the biggest problem I have with your argument. Is I feel like I'm doing a show with a shapeshifter here. Because you keep taking guys from different points in their career
Yes.
and inserting them into this Warriors situation and suggesting that because they became this or because they were once this, that they could then be this in the
Right now,
moment.
right.
And it doesn't work that way. Nobody in the league could have done for the Warriors what
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant
That's fair.
did.
And that team is different,
those
bro.
2
fair.
You can't just place
years.
That is
you can't,
fair.
you can't
End of
place,
story.
That is
You
fair.
can't place anybody on that team. They got a real offensive team.
Here's what I'm saying.
The small ball, they shoot threes. Like,
That
everybody
is-
can't just be placed there and play there.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. That is fair. Nobody
So
could
is it
have
3 against 1 right now?
Nobody could have
No,
done.
It's 3-0.
I'm saying it's 3 against.
It is 3
3
against
against 1.
It is 3 against 1.
Because he's bad today.
Hey, but remember what happened when the Warriors went up 3-1. The king came back.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go.